What's going on, guys? I am Toxic Jordan. Welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to be taking a look at the EZA kits for the new Super Saiyan Goku and Super Saiyan Vegeta GT, as well as the Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta Dokkan Fest. So let's go ahead and break down these kits here. Alright, so for the GT Goku, he is going to be getting a little bit of an update to the leader skill, which is nice. Previously, I believe he just had 170% to GT Heroes, yeah, and then it was only 150% to Goku's family, so now it's 170% overall, which is fine. I think 170 leader skills are finally getting to the point where they're a little bit aged out, and there's not really too much of an excuse to use them unless the unit itself is providing like a ton of power. But even then, usually speaking, you can just use them on the team, and then there's a better unit that you can use as your leader. The only opportunity to, really take advantage of these leader skills is as a friend lead. If you want a second copy of this card on your team to be able to throw him in as a friend lead, which I think is a very viable option if this card ends up being the type of unit you'd want to do that with, because Goku's family is such a widespread category with a lot of units on it, right? So that definitely could work out for you. Okay, so basic effects here, 250% stats. He is a Rainbow Orb Changer. Makes sense, he was doing that before. Okay, when attacking with 12 or more key... Oh, wait, first pause. I need to address that this did not update. Okay. One of the biggest problems with using this guy as a nuke leader, or as a nuker to, deal max damage in whatever various nuking events that we've had to take down. This is has historically been one of the better units to use for those cases. The biggest problem with him is that on a nuke team, typically the way it works is you want to build it so that it's all one typing and you're selecting orbs of the same type because of the way that the nuke leader skills work. They only affect one type of orbs. Notice that he does not have the exception of physical key spheres here. So that means that even if you had like physical orb changers around him and stuff, he can change the physical orbs into rainbow. That hurts him a lot. They don't really do this anymore. Usually nowadays when you have a rainbow orb changer, they will have an exception in here to the typing of the card. So if it's like an int card, it'll say changes a certain type of key sphere int excluded to rainbow key sphere, right? But it doesn't say that for him with the physical excluded. So yeah, that does hurt him a little bit. Not a huge deal, but it is definitely a factor to consider. And I'm a little bit bummed that they didn't update that. Okay, so when attacking with 12 key, he gets 30% stats, 20% defense, 10% crit chance. Oh, per key sphere obtained. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That checks out. These are just buffed up numbers from what he previously had. Okay, so yeah, he's gonna be hitting pretty hard with that already, right? Okay, and then as long as you get 3 key spheres, he's got attacks effective. Okay, wow. Yeah, that's gonna be free. You're basically gonna have that every turn. And then with 5 key spheres, he's launching a guaranteed additional super. Wonderful. Okay, and then per GT Heroes or Giant 8 Power category ally attacking in the same turn, whichever has more members, obviously, he gets 77% defense and 20% damage reduction. Okay. So you'll be at 154% defense and 40% damage reduction because it's self-excluded and it's attacking in the same turn. So you can only get up to 2 stacks of this with whatever other units you have on the team, right? GT Heroes Giant 8 Power. You're not always going to have this active. Obviously, this is going to make him kind of a staple for the Giant 8 Power team, but if you're just running him on like a Goku's family team or something, like the new Vegeta team, right? And he's just a pure Saiyan and you throw him in, he could potentially not have any of this active. Obviously, the new Carnival LR Super Saiyan 3 Goku is going to be a huge partner for this guy. And then obviously, assumably, the Int Super Saiyan Vegeta that we're about to take a look at as well. Both of those units would qualify for these categories. And then we've got the 7th anniversary Super Saiyan 4s. They are going to be on Giant 8 Power and GT Heroes. And then you also have the 10th Tech Grade 8 Vegeta that's going to be on Giant 8 Power. So there are a lot of really, really good options. These teams are starting to look... Giant 8 Power is definitely starting to look pretty good at this point, which we could have assumed that would happen, right? As one of the new anniversary headliners had a pure Giant 8 Power leader skill. So we knew that because of how trash that category was when that unit released in part 1 of the anniversary, that they were definitely going to be adding some buffs to it, right? Okay. So for the first turn, he just gets a guaranteed additional anyway. That's always nice, I suppose. And then when activating the active skill, oh, wow. 350% and performs a crit. Okay. Cool. And the active skill is going to be very easy for you to get. So, wait, you can do the active skill turn 2. Because turn 1, you can do your base super, and then you can get a second super attack from the 5 key spheres, and then a third super attack from being the first turn, and then the fourth super attack from the hidden potential system. You can get all 4 attacks in the first turn, and all of these are guaranteed additionals. Additional supers, not just additional attacks, right? So the only RNG you're working with is the hidden potential system. Very interesting. Okay, historically, it was kind of a good idea to give this guy a full crit build, but because he has this now, with the crit chance per key sphere, and it's going to be so easy for him to get a lot of key spheres, and then he also has attacks effective basically all the time as well. And then I suppose you could factor this as well for the active skill turn. He doesn't really need crit anymore. Now it seems like the additionals is going to be the biggest thing to be able to get this active skill off as quickly as possible. Interesting, especially because of... Okay, so, yeah, this. Because he is raising attack and defense for the turn, right? Getting those extra additionals is going to help his defense quite a bit. I mean, he does have a little bit of stacking defense, and then obviously this helps. But the main thing is going to be the attack. Yeah, I think this guy's going to be hitting very, very hard. He's probably going to look decent defensively. He isn't building up or anything, which is actually a refreshing change of pace. We do kind of need some more units, especially on some of these, Pure Saiyan, Goku Family, Giant 8 Power, GT Hero categories that you're going to be running this guy on. Super Saiyans, right? Where we have units that don't really need to build up. That is one nice thing about this kit, is turn 1, right away, straight out the gates, he is as good as he's going to be. There's no... waiting for him to get better, which means that you can run this unit in slot 3 easily and keep the other units that you need to stack on rotation and then just have this guy floated. So yeah, I do kind of like that. I really like this kit. I think this is, yet again, going to be a very, very staple unit to be using. Obviously, he's on quite a bit of categories, and he's got your typical GT Goku links. So yeah, awesome. This so far looks pretty good. I'm kind of hoping... So, this kit has always been more focused around offense, whereas the Vegeta has always been a little bit more defensive. So, yeah, I guess we'll see. If they just kind of flop the numbers here between offense and defense, I think the Vegeta's going to be in trouble. He's definitely going to need some things like damage reduction and stuff like that to look better. So, let's see what we're working with here. Okay, so obviously similar leader skill, just with Vegeta's family, which unfortunately is not quite as good. Vegeta's family historically has always been weaker than Goku's family, just because there's not quite as many top-tier units to use in there. Okay, but same deal here, 250% stats, Rainbow Key Sphere changing. Same deal, he does not have the exception of Int Orbs. It's just any type, so that hurts him just a little bit. But luckily, neither of these units do need the specific typing of orbs, right? Just any orbs will be fine for them. Okay, so yeah, okay, they did flop the numbers here, just attack 20% and defense 30%, but there we go, that's what I wanted to see. Yes, so instead of the crit, they're giving him damage reduction. Awesome. It's only 3%, there's no other damage reduction in the kit. They put the crit here, no, they flopped it. Okay. Already, because of that, I kind of don't like this guy as much. He does have guard, which only 3 key spheres. He's basically always going to have guard instead of the attacks effective. So yeah, this guy is still focused defensively, which makes sense. And then he still gets the additional super here, still has the guaranteed additional at 1 turn from entry, and then the attack 350% on the active skill makes sense, but he doesn't have the crit on active skill either. They just took that part away, and they didn't give him anything else. And then this gives him extra attack for the turn, not defense. Ah, yeah. I don't like that. So they did a bad thing. They shouldn't have just flopped the numbers here. They really needed oh dude, that sucks so bad. The guard is nice. The guard is definitely nice that they added that in for him. That's going to be helpful. But if this still needed to be, what they should have done is kept the crit down here on the active skill. Give him the guaranteed crit for that. I do like the damage reduction here instead of the crit, but they should have just foregone this critical hit percentage here and just kept the damage reduction. Maybe even if they wanted to lower it and make it like 15%, because the Goku has 20, and then they gave him 30% crit, so they didn't really care about making the number exactly the same. If they had just done like 15% damage reduction, then he would be at 30% damage reduction with, you know, 2 of the allies in the turn with him. And then, you know, you get another, like, 8 key spheres. Now he's looking at, like, 58% damage reduction plus guard. Now he's looking pretty solid, right? But yeah, this only being at 3%, because they took this away, that kind of sucks. I wish this was more like 7% or something. I think is probably what he's going to need. It is nice that he has the 30% defense. Again, would have been nicer if they pushed that up just a little bit. Maybe, like, 50% or something could have been good. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, and then same deal. He's got the same super attack effect and everything. And active skill activation and effect. Yeah. Okay. I'm not quite as big a fan of this unit then. I had that hunch, and I mean, they had these same problems before EZA as well, where it seems like they built the kit around the Goku, and then they just flopped the numbers for the Vegeta to try and make him a little defensive, but I don't know. Having, like, the offensive focus with a little bit of defensive buffs in the kit definitely works a little bit better than having the defensive focus with a little bit of offensive focus in the kit like this. Just considering that the offensive focus for the Goku and the defensive focus for this Vegeta are not massive. Neither of them are massive, right? So yeah, I don't know. I feel like what we're going to end up seeing is that this guy ends up looking a little bit subpar defensively, and then also he's just not hitting as hard as like a lot of the other units that have released recently, right? But yeah, we'll see. Maybe I will be, you know, putting my foot in my mouth and eating my words soon here. So we'll stay tuned and find out. But as of just glancing through the kit, I'm not quite as excited about this guy. Okay. Alright, so we've got the Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta. What? Oh, this is not the Super EZA. I was like, excuse me? The passive didn't change at all? This is just the normal EZA. So yeah, obviously he had the 80% damage reduction for 10 turns. This right here is why I'm so excited for this guy. I can't wait to see what they do with this. The main thing for me is this 10 turn restriction. I want to see that go away, because we do have a lot of long form content now. And having that 10 turn restriction just hurts him to where, you know, once he loses that damage reduction, he's a fish. You can't use him at all. I can imagine maybe if they keep the turn restriction, they're going to make it where it's a lowered amount of damage reduction after that time, which is possible. Kind of similar to the way that the STR Sign of UI Goku works, where he has the, you know, 70% chance to dodge for the first 7 turns, and then after that, he loses that, and it just becomes a 50% chance. Well, at least that's how it was before he EZA'd. So yeah, maybe they'll do something like that. We'll see. Yeah, okay, so they still did... Yep, there you go. So, for the first 10 turns, he's got the 80%, and then starting from the 11th turn down to 50%. So basically exactly what I thought they might do here. But then I am seeing we've got a monstrous amount of extra stats here. So 200% stats in base, an additional 200% attack and 100% defense on attack. So those are multiplicative buffs. That's quite a massive multiplicative buff. Wow, that's actually going to make him look really good. Which I guess makes sense because his stats don't go up with the Super EZA, so he's still stuck at the same stats that he had at his normal EZA, so I guess it makes sense why they would add so much attack, because this unit is ancient, right? So even with the stats that he had, he wasn't really going to be hitting hard, so that's kind of cool. The multiplicative defense is nice as well. So yeah, straight up for the first 10 turns, especially because he has the extra 150% here. So he's got 350% defense in base, plus 80% damage reduction. He's just going to be kind of invincible. for the first 10 turns, and then especially post super attack with the multiplicative 100%, he'll be invincible. Nothing will be able to touch him. So that is pretty exciting. Okay, and then when targeting an enemy who's stunned, he gets the extra attack and guaranteed crits. Okay, yeah, he had that before. With the guaranteed crits when the enemy is stunned, because obviously his super attack effect has the high chance to stun enemy. Okay, when there's a super class enemy, he launches an additional attack with a high chance to be a super. When there's an extreme class enemy, he gets a guaranteed super. Okay, not bad. That doesn't do quite as much for him, just because he doesn't have a super attack effect that, like, buffs stats or anything, which is another reason why they gave him these multiplicative buffs here, because, you know, he's not building up anything with his super attack effect, so that makes sense. I mean, yeah, he's probably gonna look really good. I mean, you can't go wrong with this, right? And the fact that even after this rolls off, he just guaranteed has this. This unit's gonna be pretty promising. I think this unit's gonna do well. Yeah, I'm excited about this unit. I think he's gonna be good for a very long time. Okay, well, that is basically everything for these 3 character kits. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else I needed to point out or go over here. Obviously, I guess this would be a good linking partner for the new Super Saiyan 3 Daima Vegeta, which is why they released him now. But yeah, I mean, he's a pure Saiyan. He's on Successors. Yeah, so he's on Gogeta's 220%. Yeah. Yeah, so he'll be good. He'll be good for sure. I am curious to see how invincible he stays after turn 11 with the reduced damage reduction, if that's going to end up being enough for him. But he does have a lot of stats, so I don't know. It's promising. Oh, actually, yeah, he losing this after 10 turns as well. That is going to hurt him a little bit, huh? Interesting. Yeah, maybe he will be susceptible to taking damage post turn 10. I think because that as well. Yeah, because it doesn't become a reduced rate or anything. He just straight up loses all of that, right? Well, we'll see. We're definitely going to try this guy out in game. I imagine I'm going to be using him in quite a bit of challenge content, so we'll just have to stay tuned and see on that one. But that's going to go ahead and do it for this video. So don't forget to check out the links in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.